Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories: 200 new jobs are to be created at Emerald Contact Centre in the Waterford Business Park. The 86-year-old victim of a burglary in County Waterford says he's thankful he wasn't in the house at the time and escaped injury. A Waterford councillor says it feels as if the North Quays project is slipping through the council's hands. And in sport, Waterford FC travel to Dublin to take on high-flying Bohemians tonight. Waterford's received a jobs boost with 200 new jobs to be created at Emerald Contact Centre in the Waterford Business Park over the next 3 years. The customer care and sales support provider currently employs 140 staff. The roles were announced at the opening event for the company's new offices located in Confederation House. Owen McCoy, who's Global Learning and Development Manager at the centre, explains what they do.
Emerald began in 2015, initially with I think it was 10 people. And obviously, year on year, we've seen ourselves growing consistently, surpassed all of our initial kind of expectations and projections. So, it's a very proud moment for us. We're a customer care and sales support contact centre. So we have, our clients are global. So we deal with clients from the financial, the health and travel sector. So effectively, our clients have publications and our agents then service their customers.
The plan is to hire the first 50 new team members in a variety of roles by the end of this year. Owen outlines those roles.
Customer care roles is effectively what it is. And again, it's across that raft of different languages. Just off the top of my head, we're talking Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, and of course English. So it's predominantly customer care across our global client base in terms of the health, the travel and the financial sector. I would implore people that are interested to definitely go and visit the website and again reach out to us on Facebook.
IDA Ireland's regional manager in the South East region, Brendan MacDonald, says these new positions are in addition to the jobs announced by the parent company Agora recently.
Agora announced 135 jobs out in Portlaw a number of months ago, so this is an extension of that jobs announcement today. And it's fantastic news for Waterford, a very positive news story and a great day for Waterford once again.
Mayor of Waterford City and County, John Pratt, said today's announcement's very welcome.
It is the top end of the call centre jobs, which is very important as well, so they're going to be good quality jobs. Starting in Portlaw went from a very small number of people, and it has grown to, I think 160 as of now, and 200 more coming on stream. And it just shows that Waterford is a good place to do business.
The 86-year-old victim of a burglary in County Waterford yesterday says he's thankful he was not in the house at the time and escaped injury. Gardaí are undertaking house-to-house inquiries in Portlaw after a large sum of money was stolen from the house of John Foley yesterday morning, sometime between 10:30 and 11 a.m. He lives alone in the Mayfield area. He told Damien Tiernan on Daysha today that he'd left the property just minutes before the thieves struck.
A car on the road. First I see it moving along slowly, and then it went down to Hackett's Gate, turned there, came up and went down by Kiley's. Dogs didn't bark there, it meant they didn't go in. I had a bit of suspicions on it. Coming up, it turned this way and went over the road slowly. That was the last scene of it. I came in here, and the first thing I noticed is the gate opened halfway. And there had two locks on that door. And when I opened the door, the first thing I noticed is that window there. There's someone there to disturb it.
He says it's the first time this has happened to him.
They knew where to strike when I was sleeping. I knew it was a robbery, very hard to do anything about it. They got away and got on all the years, nothing ever happened. But there's always a first time in anything, isn't there? I don't know what to say. It's hard to know. And there's a wicked busy road, but it seems they knew at the time when 10 o'clock comes, the road quietens a good bit. But from 7 on up till 9:30 or 9:45, it's a wicked busy road.
Between 9:30 and 10 a.m. yesterday morning, a house in the Ballybrack area of Kilmacthomas was broken into by breaking the glass in the patio door. The whole house was ransacked. Gardaí in Waterford are investigating another break-in to a house at Castlewoods in Ballinamona just before midday. They're also investigating a burglary which took place yesterday morning at approximately 9:30 in Mooncoin. Waterford Fianna Fáil TD Mary Butler, who lives in Portlaw, says a break into your home is very upsetting for people. If you noticed any suspicious activity in the Kilmacthomas or Portlaw areas, you're asked to contact Tramore Garda Station on 051 391 620. A Waterford councillor says it feels as if the North Quays project is slipping through the council's hands. Planning was due to be submitted in July. However, the developer Falcon Real Estate is said to be reviewing environmental aspects of the application. A significant amount of state funding is required to pay for the relocation of Plunkett Station onto the quay so it becomes a transport hub. But there have been no commitments from the government for that aspect of the project. Fianna Fáil's Eddie Mulligan raised concerns about the project at last night's council meeting.
To me, this is the biggest project in the history of Waterford City, and it just seems to be slipping through our hands. What really is concerning, at the meeting with the Minister last week, he actually used the words, if and when the funding is delivered for this project. And I suppose for us as a council, do we want to be the ones that look back on this if it fails and say, did we do enough? I know the Chief Executive has told us time and time again that there's no plan B necessary, but yet we have a developer that is looking for this contribution and we don't have a plan B.
He's unsure whether the developer will stay committed to the project beyond November because of the hold-up in funding.
They've said on more than one occasion, despite all the fanciful graphics and videos they're putting out at the moment, that they would be willing to pull the plug if the funding is not confirmed by November. And to me, it's looking more and more likely that these funds won't be finalised. But I suppose the questions I'm asking is, who's going to be held accountable if we have to announce an indefinite delay to the project? I suppose who's going to be held to account when the SDZ deadline passes and suddenly we're left with one of the most valuable vacant sites in the continent, not to mind the country?
Council Chief Executive Michael Walsh says the government remains interested in settling funding problems.
There certainly is a willingness to resolve the issues there, subject to capital appraisal, economic appraisal and otherwise. We've all of that work done. If there is a bit more has to be done, we'll equally do that. But I assure you that there is ongoing contact and connection in respect of it, and any form of political support in that context is more than welcome.
A senior source at the Department of Agriculture says the prospect of talks between factories and protesting farmers is still challenging on both sides. Determined efforts are continuing to try and get all sides to meet this weekend as the beef dispute escalates. Irish beef sold in Aldi is now being labelled as processed in the UK, with several of the country's biggest plants being forced to wind down production because of ongoing protests by farmers over beef prices. These Aldi shoppers said they don't check where the beef they're buying comes from.
My husband buys all the meat. He's the one that cooks. He's very fussy about his beef. I probably wouldn't have noticed where it was processed. I wouldn't check. I always just check if it's organic.
If it's cheaper, I'll buy it. Doesn't bother me once it's decent price. Like if you go into any shop in Dublin, 2 steaks is nearly €14.
The Green Party's meeting in Cork today for its annual think-in before the Dáil returns after its summer break. Waterford Councillor Mark O'Casig has been named the party spokesperson for social protection. He believes the appointment is a vote of confidence in himself, but also an acknowledgement of the importance of Waterford as a regional player.
WLR Sport.
Very good afternoon, I'm Gavin, Whelan. Starting with soccer, and Waterford FC are back in the capital tonight as they continue their busy schedule. It's back to Electricity League Premier Division action tonight as the Blues travel to Dalymount Park to take on a confident Bohemian side. Blues first team coach Fernie Rocket says all the games are massive from here till the end of the season.
They're massive ones, and that's, you know, these are things now. We spent long enough in the first division, you know what I mean? Let's enjoy these ones. Let's really enjoy these games, you know. And I'm not forgetting about how some of the performances have been over the season or anything like that. I'm not putting that to one side, but we're after turning the corner. There's no two ways about it. In terms of the endeavour, the attitude, the application, it's been really, 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 really heartening to see, you know.
And kick-off in Daleyman Park is at 7:45. WLR will broadcast the game live thanks to Clem, Jacob Hire, Ray Scott and myself on air from 7:35pm. Elsewhere tonight in the top flight, St Patrick's Athletic host UCD and its Sligo Rovers up against Finn Harps. Next to Gaelic Games, and dual star Desi Hutchinson has earned the August WLR Granville Hotel GA Award. He fired 6 points from play as Ballygunner eased past Passage in the quarter-finals of the County Senior Hurling Championship. He's also impressed for Galtier and made his championship debut for the Waterford footballers during the summer. He was surprised to pick up his first monthly award. Hutchinson had spells with Brighton and Hove Albion and Waterford FC, but is glad to be back playing GA.
Oh yeah, big time. It's complete new lease of life for me. Something I haven't had in a couple of years. I was kind of not going through the motions, but I was somewhere I didn't really want to be for a while, and it went like that. But to be back playing with my best friends, around the family, brothers, everything, so it's great.
And you can hear more from Desi on this evening's Lorna Porca with Tomos from 6:10 here on WLR. He'll also feature former Dacia football boss John Kiley, who'll assess who's best place going into tomorrow's All-Ireland football final replay between Dublin and Kerry up there in Croke Park. They meet for a 6pm throw-in tomorrow evening. Team news will be in from both camps later this evening. Kilrossenty and Balnacorty get the County Senior Football Championship quarter-final action underway tonight. They meet in Fairfield for an 8:30pm throw-in. Kilrossenty were pushed all the way by Bricky Rangers last weekend in the playoffs before prevailing by 3 points. Corty haven't played a competitive football championship game since mid-July, having received a walkover in their final group game. Emmett Doherty is the Kilrossenty manager.
You know, we'll have to be fresh going into against Balnacorty because look, you know, they are a real top class outfit, and you know they have physicality, pace, scores, defenders. You know, so they have it all.
Throw in for that one, as mentioned, is at 8:30. It'll be preceded by the relegation playoff between Portlaw and Ardmore. Also tonight in the intermediate football quarter-final in the Western Championship, it's Ballymela against Medeligo, now throwing in at 8pm, and Lemmy Bryan. In the Junior A football quarter-final, it's Fan against Kilgobnett in Abbeyside at the same time, while the Junior A football championship semi-finals in the East take place. John Mitchell's and Dunhill are underway in Kill at 6pm, while at the same time in Fenner it's Mount Sinai against Ballydoflower, while the County Junior B football championship semi-final also takes place this evening in St Mollerins. It's now a 8:15 throw-in for the meeting of Stradbally and Rathcormac. Galtier awaiting the winners in the county final. To news of boxing, welterweight Aidan Welch is the only Irish boxer in action at the World Championships in Russia today. He fights Israel's Mislav Kapuler later this afternoon in the round of 64. Big weekend here on the athletics scene as well. It's also a busy afternoon for Joe Goff, who's back in action at the European Masters Championships in Venice at 4:10 this afternoon. He runs in the 800 metres over 65 final and is one of the favourites to take the title to add to the 1500 metres he won last Saturday. Preparations are well underway for the annual Greenway Half Marathon, which takes centre stage tomorrow. It's the third annual event, which is hosted by West Waterford Athletic Club. The event kicks off at 9am from Kilmac Thomas and will finish with the finish line at Ballin Road. PRO at West Waterford AC James Veal is advising people using the Greenway tomorrow morning to be vigilant of the runners and stewards.
So there'll be hive activity. There isn't any road restrictions as such or anything, just there will be a lot of parking and stuff around the Cloney area on the morning. But really, because of the 9am start, by 11:30, most of our traffic will be actually gone out of the area.
And finally to racing, the penultimate day, it is the penultimate day even, of race week in Listowel, with the first of the Kerry track off at 1:55. That's the latest on WLR, more at 2.
If you're close